power of love. You don't need no credit card to ride this train, so all aboard and let's get ready to rando.
That was just as impressive the second time.
I appreciate that. So as we were saying, we're looking for a hammer start. I think hammer would be quite fun. It's got a lot of raw power. Could open up the Dark World a little bit earlier, lead to some interesting routing divergence. So our runners are off, and we'll see what we get in the first chest here as they start their way through escape, and a heart container.
Heart container is always good. Can't have people dying early.
Yeah, no one's going to turn down a heart container early, or any safety, really. And as we were mentioning before we went live, we see Nakachuu on the right with the Pikachu sprite, and I've already forgotten what the sprite on the left is.
Terra from Final Fantasy VI, her Esper form.
The community has done a fantastic job, and it really lets our runners stand out as far as that goes. And today we're doing a fire rod escape.
It's a bit light on magic, especially if you get a few misses, but it's a pretty straightforward item.
8 shots total with a full magic bar, but you get those 2 pots right beginning of that first chest with that bomb upgrade in them, so no worries about killing these 2 guards. Each of our runner missing 1, but still come away with a full magic meter. A little difficult to farm for bombs early. We'll see if either of our runners get early or just get lucky and get some bombs, or if they try to do things like throw a bunch of bushes and pots at enemies to try to get bomb drops.
Yeah, you can see a lot of use of pots in the near future. There's a bunch of magic in the sewer as well under some pots, so we might see the runners killing some snakes down there for some bombs, hopefully.
Yeah, fire rod openings and all of the magic-based openings really test your knowledge of what's under the pots everywhere. It shows practice pays off, and just general knowledge and studying of the game is really, really key here.
You see just a little piece of heart in the second or third chest of the row.
And our runner's pretty much neck and neck at this time. I expect that to be true all the way up through the end of Kakariko, so we should be pretty much screen for screen here on the next 10 minutes or so. But we could see a little bit more. And there's a bomb for Dr. Marty, leaves it behind. That'll still be there when he comes back, as long as he hurries.
See if
Nakachuu having a little bit of trouble, seeing if... No, doesn't get the same drop. So we know green guards have that bomb in the prize pack.
And Dr. Marty O might even be looking to kill a few more. 1 bomb is handy for escape, but having a few to deal with Kakariko helps routing a little, and money.
And Dr. Marty 0 already down to 1 fire rod shot here. So he'll have to save that for the rat, unless he knows where those magic pots are that you alluded to earlier. And Nakachuu throws a pot at the guard, gets that bomb drop as well. Both of our runners will have enough to get to those 3 extra chests in escape.
It's always horrible to have to leave those behind. Coming back is quite a trek, especially if there's no glove in time and you have to walk all the way through the sewer again.
And 50 rupees from Zelda's chest, always nice to see early money. You need 100 for the bottle vendor and possibly even 500 additional for Zora.
Depending how the bombs shape up, we might even need to buy a few of those, so every penny counts at the minute.
50 rupees for 10 bombs. Pretty good deal at Kakariko. We'll see if they have enough money to spend by the time they get there. Meanwhile, we're both going back to rescue Zelda, bring her back to the sanctuary. Dancing around some guards on Dr. Marty's side.
And Nakachu's not far behind him. These runners are sitting at 1-1, looking to get their second win on the board, get themselves hopefully out of the relegation zone for the time being.
Ooh, the relegation zone. I like that. That's good. We don't have relegation in American sports. I think we should. That'd be great.
Keep things interesting.
And Dr. Marty showing off their knowledge right away with that magic pot basically on the way. Gets the extra fire rod shot.
That'll help if the key rat trolls him a little.
Those things do move around. They move and they stop and they move and they stop. Meanwhile, Nakachuu going right past that pot. Nakachuu already has 2 magic shots here, though, it looks like. So they're on about even footing now.
And both players just damage boosting through the snake room. See just a 5 rupees in that chest in the middle of the sewer.
And Dr. Marty spending those last 2 fire rod shots to kill a couple rats, gets the key easily, and is out of here. And Nakachuu with the same luck. Excellent.
It seems Dr. Marty got an 8-pack of bombs somewhere along the lines there. However, the 3 in the back here will definitely help Kakariko.
So no need to buy bombs on the left. Looks like on the right, Nakachuu was not as fortunate. Didn't get that rat to drop those 8 bombs from the prize pack. So we will be possibly buying bombs, but 3 bombs is enough to get through Kakariko.
Yep. There's a lot of chests in Kakariko. We might even find some more bombs.
And we are rewarded at the end of escape with a sword. While the sword isn't quite as powerful as the hammer or even the fire rod, it is reusable and it can get upgraded, and it is an important progression item for later.
Yeah, definitely so. It'll help a lot whenever they head down to the south shore to the mini Moldorm cave. Those guys are known to dodge fire rod shots.
So a lot of possibilities here early. We're still waiting on a lot of items in order to judge where we're seeing our route divergence possibilities so far. We saw Dr. Marty check a tree pull there. That's going to be the level 2 tree pull. They've killed 4 enemies and have gotten hit. And so that's the level 2. If they hadn't gotten hit, it would have been the level 3. But coming out of escape with no hits is a tall order, to say the least. And killing fewer than 4 enemies will get you just the level 1 tree pull. So right now, both of our runners will have an opportunity at the level 2 and the level 1 tree pull, as well as what those bush crabs drop, but unfortunately that's only a fairy. We see 20 rupees in the lumberjack tree. Aghanim will most likely not be required, but there's still a couple of possibilities where we end up making the big tower climb. Dr. Marty sees the boomerang, the red boomerang at the mushroom spot, decides to grab it. We'll see if Nakachuu decides the same. That is not a required item, but can be a nice safety. You can stun a bunch of enemies, including those pesky Gibdos, in Skull Woods. Check the stun prize, which could be good. It could be it's a consistent prize where you're stunning an enemy, you kill them, and they always drop the same thing. 100% chance to drop the stun prize. So it could be 20 rupees. It could be more bombs. We'll see if that comes in handy at all.
I'm sure the runners will be taking advantage of that with the boomerang in hand.
And neither of our runners checking that level 1 tree pull.
Nakachuu opted to not pick up the red meringue.
And so we'll head into Kakariko, into the basement of Blind's house, get those 5 chests there. Total of 13 chests that they have access to right now in Kakariko. So we've got a lot of possibilities for items here.
It's our 4th quarter of heart. It's another one for the collection. Brings us further and further away from dying to random damage.
And a bottle in the back of Blind's house. That's beautiful. That opens up another item in Kakariko. Really helps with the efficiency of the routing, which is what these runners are looking for.
Definitely will. We'll probably see both runners hit up the sick kid for whatever he's holding. See silver arrows in the first chest in the well. That'll definitely be helpful for the Ganon fight at the very least.
Big sigh of relief. No Master Sword Silverless fight today. And there's that hammer you were talking about. So we are a couple of items away still from Dark World access. We're much further away than I thought we were when I started that sentence. So we're still looking for a glove, still looking for a moon pearl.
Yeah, it's a third of our Dark World access. And it's an extremely strong weapon as well if we need to go and kill anything big. Especially useful for Troll Dorm if we end up Death Mountain.
And we'll see what these chickens are hiding in the back, and it's the hook shot. So that certainly leads to the possibility of going up Death Mountain now with that hook shot and the hammer. We just need a way up there in the flute or the gloves. And the lamp, of course, but I am confident that both of these runners are capable without the aid of the lamp.
Yeah, the lamp's pretty optional at this stage of the tournament. Just lunch money from the sick kid.
And Nakachuu spending some of those rupees to get 10 bombs, bringing up to 13. That's a wise decision early. You're definitely going to need those bombs.
Yeah, there's a bunch more spots we'll need bombs. We'll need them to get into the mini Moldorm cave and then the Ice Frog cave if we head out that direction.
And it looks like just an arrow upgrade on top of the library. Won't be coming back to read that book and bonk off that shelf. Nothing doing in the race game. We're going to save and quit. This is the first time we could have a possibility of seeing route divergence. We'll see where the doc tries to go.
Our choices are pretty limited. We're going South Shore or Eastern at the minute. Looks like Dr. Mario is going to South Shore.
Haven't had a map check from either of our runners, so that's certainly not going to play into it. Nakachuu going to go right to the race game without checking what the item is. Disappointed, likely, when they get to the end, but this could save a little bit of time were it a necessary item.
Yeah, I've seen a few runners do this. I haven't seen it pay off yet, but it's an interesting play.
And looks like Dr. Marty is heading south. Uses a hook shot to get through that block. Saves a little bit of time there. What happens is the block gets moved, and while it's moving, the game thinks it doesn't exist, because this is a great game.
Very well.
And we get flippers, appropriately enough, buried under the water in the dam.
Seems like a good place for them. That'll unlock another few locations up Zora's River. Fortunately, we don't have anywhere near the rupees required to check Zora's item.
And with the flippers and without the gloves, that's going to turn off the Houlihan room for the moment for our runners. So they're going to be relying on just what drops in the world for their money source for now. As Dr. Marty keeps trying to hookshot that mini Moldorm, and he doesn't want to get hookshotted, but he will eventually, whether he likes it or not. 300 rupees, the first item in the back of the mini Moldorm cave. That's going to help towards the 500. We'll see if Dr. Marty decides to take advantage of it. Only 63 rupees away.
Well, you got the bug net as well there. Another nice safety. You catch some of those furries that the bush crabs are hiding.
And it goes along very nicely with their bottle as well. So Dr. Marty is going to start swimming, put those flippers to use. Doesn't get anything of interest on the Lake Hylia Island. We'll see if the hobo has anything. And it looks like we had a map check, and Eastern is just a pendant. Now, when Eastern's a pendant, do you dip there early? It is Sphere 1. It is something that is accessible to the runners right away, but it is something that might not be required. You can't complete it without the bow, and it's out of logic even without at least the lamp. So what do you think? Do you go in? Do you complete Eastern Palace? Do you dip Eastern Palace early? Or do you just leave it be?
I think it comes down to if we go up to Sahasrahla. If we're going up to Sahasrahla quite early, I'd have a tendency to pop into Eastern for a couple of chests.
And it looks like I was wrong. My reading comprehension skills are not great at 8:21 a.m., it turns out. And Eastern was a crystal. So we'll see if that affects either of our runners in how they want to proceed with the early stages of this seed. So Eastern is a crystal, so they're going to have to come back if they do take that early dip.
I think a lot of it does depend on where the run ends up taking us. If the seed's pointing us or like forcing us to go to Sahasrahla for progression, I could see a dip in the Eastern, but it's a bit out of the way. We do still have a few chests kicking along here. There's another bottle in the Ice Rock Cave.
Nakachuu saving and quitting doesn't have quite the rupees to get pulled into the Zora area. So they will likely head to Eastern and try that.
Yeah,
lots of opportunities to get up to 500 rupees there.
Yeah, it looks like that's the plan.
And Dr. Marty Zero spending a little bit of time trying to farm those rupees. Gonna head to Zora, it looks like.
There's 3 chests here before we speak to the big man, so hopefully there'll be some money in those. Seeing Nakachuu's going for a swim, heading off to the hobo himself.
Hobo is actually much closer to Link's house at the very, if you just save and quit and go right to Link's house. So we could still see that Zora play. Just want to check Hobo and Lake Island item first. And we do get our Moon Pearl up in the Waterfall of Wishing.
That's 2/3 of our Dark World access. That's will hopefully point us away from Aghanim for the time being.
Yeah, we're still short of sword upgrade and a lamp for the Aghanim play, so we should be safe from that. And Dr. Marty Zero saves and quits, not having enough money for Zora. Now, that's going to make it a pain to come back later with those 500 rupees. Not something that is going to hurt most runners in the long run, but it is something that could really come back and have a major effect on this race later, if Zora were to have something.
Definitely. So it looks like Nakachuu's heading off to Guinness Cave. It's a very, very out-of-the-way location. He's decided to just get it off the plate now, not go any further.
It's a one-off location, like you said. It is very out of the way, but it's something that most runners don't do. So this could be a way for Nakachuu to differentiate themselves against Dr. Marty and really try to get that early progression, an important item from here, if this pays off. So it's not a bad gamble at all, I think.
A green pendant in Swamp Palace, that's never a good sign.
Especially with those early flippers. We find a lamp and Dark World access, we'll have access to that. Unfortunately, it's a green pendant. Much rather see crystals at this point. And the single arrow. Not the most exciting item in Agina's Cave.
See where Nakachuu heads next. He still hasn't went up to the Waterfall of Wishing, so he's still short of Moon Pearl.
And Dr. Marty Zero going to take that dip into Eastern. So we'll be coming back here at some point unless the bow should happen to be inside.
Looks like Nakachuu's on his way back directly behind him.
Eastern is certainly the highest density of items right now, so I have to agree that this is the play, and it looks like both of our runners are thinking the same thing.
Yeah, definitely so. I think Marty Moore went off to the Waterfall of Wishing just to push his luck because he was out swimming already.
And we get a flute, so that's going to open up a lot of possibilities for us. The flute will get us up to Death Mountain, and that hook shot and that hammer will get us 8, 9, 10 additional chests, something in that neighborhood anyway.
Lots and lots of chests. Even with our fire rod, we even have a fire source to complete Tower of Air. So there's a lot of stuff we can do up there.
There's the prolonged map check that we were looking for. All right, so we got crystals at Hera and Eastern, and a pendant at Desert.
Yeah, I can definitely see our runners heading up Death Mountain with Hera completable and a crystal dungeon. Not even counting the, like, 6 other chests up there. No, 7.
8. Don't forget about Spiral Cave.
8. Yes. I think I forgot to count Spectacle Rock, actually. I think that's the one I forgot to count.
Oh, I forgot to count that one too. There's 9. Oh man, there's a lot of chests up there. I should play this game at some point.
Yeah, I'm thinking that myself. I've been spending too much time tracking and commentating and not enough time playing recently.
It is quite the spectacle. It's absolutely amazing how this video game from 1991 has grown and evolved into the randomizer. It's like it was made for randomizer. The way that all the items interact. Even this little thing, you're going to see this on Nakachoo's side very shortly, as we already saw it from Dr. Marty, where there's a little bit of a time save here on the right side of Eastern early, where you can use the hook shot to hook across and get that chest. And it's just, that's not something that, well, no, we're not going to say from Nakachoo, because they forgot. They're going to run into the Popo a bunch instead. But you're able to use that hook shot to get across. It just makes for all these little routing decisions, all these interesting little plays that runners can do, and the game just works. It doesn't crash somehow.
Yeah, it is. It's a testament to how much of a classic this game is that we're still playing it to this day. I've played a few other randomizers and they never seem to work quite as well as Link to the Past. It's a great game for it.
So Nakachoo making their way to through the rest of Eastern. And we actually got very fortunate here in Eastern Palace. All 3 items and the big key were right in the beginning, so no dark room traversal required without that lamp. So great time save for our runners. They certainly would rather get out of here sooner rather than later, and they'll be able to come right back through pretty quickly once they have the bow.
Definitely so. We might even see it come a lot later whenever we're in Palace of Darkness. To mirror over if items allow. I see Nakachoo heading off to activate his flute while Dr. Mario is saving the old man.
So darkroom navigation, not the most interesting thing to watch from a spectator point of view, but it does show off the runner's skill. And the more that you get familiar with the game, the more you can appreciate how runners are going through, learning the timings more than anything of the movements, and using that sword, the little sword sparkle, to guide them a lot of the time in order to get that extra little efficiency in their routing.
Yeah, it's extremely impressive to watch how skilled these runners are. Just doing dark rooms is no easy feat. Cabbages are annoying as well.
And Dr. Marty Zero showing us just that, taking a death here. Won't be set too far back. Has already saved the old man, so gets to restart right at the old man's cave. Gives him a kiss on the lips and gets a full heart refill. Those cabbages won't be a problem the second time up.
Death Mountain definitely isn't a friendly place. Between the cabbages and the dead rocks.
I mean, it is called Death Mountain, to be fair. Like they didn't call it Friendly Mountain or Mount Happy or anything. So
See,
300 rupees on the Spectacle Rock Ledge. With no mirror, we can't get there, but we got 300 more inside Spectacle Rock. I don't think at this point either of our runners will go for that, just because we're got over 500 on the left and almost 500 on the right. But we'll see. Nakachoo, it's a little bit more of an interesting decision.
Yeah, he's still short the 47 rupees he needs for Zora, and there's a lot of chests to come, but there's potential that they just don't have any rupees in them, so we might see him pick that up.
I think if he picks it up, it'll be towards the end, where you're doing that after your Tower of Hera run. You're doing that after you clear out the rest of Death Mountain.
Yeah, that would be definitely a good play.
Sort of defer your decision till later. Of course, we could also see our runners pick up something like the cape or the blue cane and have that, and as well as the glove, and have that access to Spike Cave as well, on another popular place to finish. So we'll see.
Nothing of huge interest in Paradox Cave so far. So called because we fall down to the upper level. Great cave.
We're not very clever in our naming here in Link to the Past. It said Moldorm sneaks through. So we get a lamp up on the top of Death Mountain and some powder. We do have access to that Magic Bat Cave with that hammer. And Nakachoo is hot on Dr. Marty's heels.
How did that Moldorm even get in there?
Moldorms do whatever they want. They don't obey the same rules as the rest of anything in this game.
It's quite true. That lamp will Well, it's not particularly useful at the minute, but it'll definitely make things a bit easier in some of the later dungeons. There's some very nasty dark rooms. It also
And without right. Go ahead.
Sorry. It also kind of puts Aghanim back in the table. We're still missing our gloves, and we're running a bit low on locations they could be.
And we get an ice rod on Sky Island. So once we have those Titans mitts and those, what else do we need for that? The mirror. We'll be back to grab that, assuming Turtle Rock is a crystal. If not, we're just going to leave it there. Nobody wants to fight Trinex if they don't have to.
It's very handy that it's right beside Turtle Rock as well. So if we decide to dip later, if it is a pendant, it's right there.
And that's an item that can be actually anywhere in the game. The only thing it's required for is to defeat Trinex. And so it's one that can really cause some troubles and really just kind of be out of the way. So both of our runners, even if it ends up not being necessary, will be relieved to see that.
And we see basement trips required in Hera. So get Dr. Mario a wee coffee break.
And while this is not something that our runners necessarily want to see, at least they'll be able to take comfort in the fact that their opponent is going to have to do this as well. So it's not going to be a time loss or a time gain either way.
Yeah, see Nakachuu grabbing a wee death warp in the first basement in the Tower of Hera just to save some health.
Nakachuu going up the stairs, see what those beetles are all about. They are still there, and they are still not going to be helpful at the moment, as the small key gets picked up and Nakachuu heads to the basement themselves. And a vanilla big key, of course, we needed that in order to progress through the rest of the dungeon. So 2 items here in Tower of Hera. They will be upstairs.
At least we aren't crossing our fingers for them not to be in the basement anymore. We'll probably put that hammer to good use against Trolldom.
Absolutely. 3 hammer hits compared to a lot of slashes and a lot of spins with that sword. So we will almost certainly be seeing hammer strats from both of our runners.
It's also very useful that it'll skip his go fast mode at the end of the fight.
If there's one thing scarier than Moldorm, it is a fast Moldorm.
Nakachuu picking up his big key. He'll be on his way upstairs shortly.
Taking another death warp without that mirror, keeping that health low. Not a bad strategy in order to get back up a little bit faster, trying to gain a little bit of time. 20 rupees, first item we have in Tower of Hera. Not too useful, but we'll see what that other big chest has, or possibly Moldorm. Looks like Dr. Marty's going to do the traditional intended route here of falling down this hole. Bomb jumps are a possibility. It's a little tricky to set up, especially without boots. It's only 2 pixels, I believe, where that bomb jump will work.
Yeah, it saves a bit of time compared to failing the bomb jump or hooking over and having to fall in the hole anyway. See Dr. Mario setting up for hammer strats on Trolldom.
And here's the googly-eyed monster themselves. Gets the first shot in, though, so Dr. Marty down 1-0 against Moldorm. It looks like Nakachuu is going to take that same fall strat down to the big chest. Moldorm's not going to give up that one last item easily.
He has a crystal as well.
The crystal. That's 2 hits, 1 more for Dr. Marty, and we will be out of here, and that's the 3rd one. Very narrow. I don't know how that last hit got in there, but I'm glad it did. So Moldorm decides to explode and give up the 20 rupees. Nothing great there. Now, those 20 rupees will be enough to put Nakachuu over the 500 mark. Nakachuu kind of dancing dangerously close to that hole in the middle. That's a two-floor fall if they were to take a dive. And they're going to show us exactly what that looks like, as I think that puts Moldorm up 2-0 on the right side. I don't know. I think Moldorm gets 2 points for a middle hole knockdown.
Yeah, definitely. Troldorm living up to his name as usual. I see Dr. Mario heading over to Spiral Cave. Finish up his trek through Death Mountain.
So both of these runners are going to have to take their revenge out on Moldorm later during the climb up Ganon's tower, as he's gotten some licks in here. And without those boots, this is a long, slow walk, but hopefully we'll be rewarded. 24 bombs now on Dr. Marty's side. That's set for the rest of the game. And just a heart container, so we didn't really get anything here.
Yeah, we got our lamp, which isn't super useful. That essentially means that Zora has something. There's no other locations really open, so Zora needs to have a sword, the cape, or gloves.
That is more or less what we're down to. Could be other fetch quest items. We do have that powder available to us. Neither of our runners have checked that yet, as we see Dr. Marty heading into Agina's cave. Also the possibility of other fetch quest items. But you're right, we're going to need, in order to really advance, in order to open up the map, we're going to need those gloves, that sword, or the cape for Aghanim or General Dark World access. And Nakachuu is going to elect to get these 300 rupees at only 518. Could use the cash infusion. I don't believe they checked that Spiral Cave chest. But right now, if you had to choose between Spiral Cave and Zora, Zora is certainly higher density at this time.
Yeah, Nakachuu did skip the Spiral Cave. Luckily for him, there was nothing of relevance in there, but that will be definitely weighing on his mind a little.
And Dr. Marty, wanting to avoid that Zora play at all costs, heads to the Magic Bat Cave.
Nakachoo's routing is paying off. He's going to head to Zora's domain and check all of the chests in one sitting.
So we'll see here if the gamble phase is off or if it's the efficiency. As the Magic Bat is awoken from the weird pool of hands, and we get the cape. That is not the item that the runners want to see here. That's going to open up Aghanim.
It'll be interesting to see if Dr. Mario heads straight to Aghanim now, or if we check Zora first. There's still the potential that Zora has the gloves. That would be very trolly.
I think if you're skipping Zora, I think you got to go all in on skipping Zora. And it looks like Dr. Marty thinks the same thing and is heading up to that Aghanim play. So I respect the decision to go all in on Zora. Doesn't have anything.
He never has anything, except whenever he does.
And indeed he doesn't. Just a quarter of a heart. So Dr. Marty's gamble paying off. Not going to have to spend those 500 rupees on that piece of heart. And gets the first chance to go up the tower to see Aghanim. Nakachuu, you got to remember that they have that powder. That is one of the last 2 places still have that Spiral Cave to check. Hopefully they realize that that won't be necessary. And they do indeed.
Sure. Nakachuu will be joining Dr. Marty in Aghanim, or Aghanim's tower shortly. Farrod making short work of the guards in here.
It turns out you're not supposed to have that at this point in the game, and it can definitely make for an easier time here in the tower. Dr. Marty getting a little bit of hassling from the guards in this dark maze. Why there is a dark maze here is a mystery to everybody. But I guess that is not the first thing that we should be questioning here in this seed. These guards don't do a ton of damage, so going to be able to come out of here still with plenty of health. As Nakachuu gets their cape and comes to the sad realization that Aghanim is, in fact, required for Dark World access in this seed.
It's something I definitely forgot in my early times playing Randomizer, is that the cape lets you in the Aghanim Star. Typically you'd require the Master Sword, but for whatever reason you can just cape past the little electric ball thing.
And there's another interaction that's just, again, astounding, that this game was not made on purpose. Complete accident. And yet we get this very, very rich randomizer as a result.
The funny thing is that cape actually opens Spiral Cave as well, or Spike Cave as well. So Aghanim might actually not be required after all.
Oh, that's a good point. That would be hysterical. And we see the stun prize finally from our runners is actually a single bomb. That could be useful for later, but it doesn't look like either of our runners are in danger of running out of bombs anytime soon. And that boomerang coming into use for Dr. Marty. Nakachuu will not have such an option. Oh, no, it doesn't make gameplay. You need a glove. Otherwise, you get very sad at the end. Did somebody say that in chat? Nobody said that in chat. Nice. Didn't notice. Nakachuu actually getting the one fire out shot off to kill 2 guards. Fires the extra one just because they were already committed to it. As Dr. Marty enters the Zelda cutscene. So we'll take guesses in chat for the number of blue balls we see. The first shot of every single phase here is a guaranteed reflectable shot, but after that it's 50-50. And we get 1 blue ball already. Some very mean guesses going out in chat. 15, of course, is the hard maximum, but the average is about 2 or 3. And no bug net strats today from Dr. Marty, as Nakachuu takes a fall, unfortunately, all the way back to the beginning of that room. Does have the option to use the fire out here to clear some of these guards out of the way, or just knocks them off the edge. Slashes angrily at them and damage boosts past. That is a very valid strategy as well. And then burns this guard for their key. As Dr. Marty is going to hopefully be finishing Aga here soon.
Had a few blue balls. He's definitely slowing the fight down. A few more.
And Nakachuu getting a little low on health here. Manages to get out of this room, though, as Dr. Marty finishes the fight. I wasn't counting blue balls. I was watching both sides of the screen. Taking out that hammer to kill these red guards as Dr. Marty makes their way over to check on... Ooh, down to half a heart. Nakachuu really doesn't want to die at this point. I think they just have a bee and an empty bottle in their bottles, unfortunately. No magic left for that cape either. Hammers that red guard, being very careful. This is certainly going to be faster than if there was a death... If a death were to be taken here. And there is that death. That is tragic.
That's very unfortunate. It's one of the worst places in the game to take a death. It's a long trek back through Aghanim Star. We saw a map check from Dr. Marty over there. We have most of the information we need. We saw that Turtle Rock was a pendant. I didn't spot the second pendant, Swamp Palace. Actually, we knew that already. And then we have red crystals in Mire and Skullwoods.
So Skullwood's actually within the logic right now for our runners. The level 1 sword and the fire rod are good enough to get through there. That's going to be 2 items, and it's a popular initial destination.
Yeah, we see Dr. Mario heading into the village of outcasts first to check a few easy chests here. This is his first shield. Not particularly useful, but a shield's a shield.
And Nakachuu heading right back up the tower. Not going to get phased by that death up Aghanim's tower. Going to keep going. Only way to go. Still in this race. It's not going to... This race is far from over for people wondering, you know, how much of a time loss that was. Needs to reposition themselves a little bit in order to kill that guard. Gets the job done as Dr. Marty takes a dip into Thieves Town.
If you're confident with your blind fight with the cape in tow, Thieves Town isn't a particularly nasty dungeon, and we have the hammer to clear out everything.
And Dr. Marty, showing off their knowledge of the game, knows there's a bunny beam there that can be ferried, fills the health up to almost full. I think that's 9 out of 10 hearts.
Yeah, close enough. I'll keep them nice and safe for the rest of this dungeon.
And Nakachuu get a little low again on health coming up to this part of the tower. As Dr. Marty upgrades their sword to the blue one. Not going to do any extra damage, but does have a little bit of extra range compared to the level 1 sword. And we saw briefly the bunny sprite for Dr. Marty, and I missed it because it was very small. And we are down to just half a heart. There is, I believe, 2 hearts worth of pots here. Nakachuu picking up one of them. There's another one on the bottom left on that side. And Nakachuu knows right where it is. Should be all set now for the rest of this tower climb.
Yeah, he's swapped over from his hammer in the previous attempt to just hookshotting and stunning everything, which is a pretty good idea.
Chat pointing out that the bunny sprite for Esper Terra is, of course, regular Terra. And we have a question in chat. Master Sword doesn't do extra damage. Master Sword does do extra damage against everything in the game except for Blind, which is the boss of this dungeon. But it does have the range. It doesn't matter what sword you have, fighter sword versus gold sword even. Going to be 3 hits per head and 9 hits total, no matter how you cut it.
You see Nakachuu heading into his Aghanim fight. Sorry, my bad.
And down to 3 hearts on Dr. Marty's side going through here. These little, what are they? They're like grasshoppers. These grasshoppers do 2 hearts of damage with that green mail still. As Nakachuu going to take the spin strats out against Aghanim here.
Yeah, it's one danger of being in Dark World so early in the game, relatively early in the game. Stuff does loads of damage.
Did have an opportunity to powder that anti-fairy. We'll have another opportunity later here. Now, this next room that Dr. Marty is going to go into, usually you need a glove to get past here, but the glove is not strictly required. You can clear out all of the enemies in this room, and it will actually open that door to the left. This is a routing possibility that a lot of runners don't realize at first, because it's just so much easier to lift up the rocket and go along your way.
Yeah, it's very odd. I always thought that the Titan's mitts were required to lift that big glove, or the big rock, because the Titan's mitts are in Thieves Town in vanilla. I was always very confused that you don't actually need any glove at all to clear Thieves Town.
And Dr. Marty going to take that powder opportunity right here. And goes back up to full and is rewarded with the mirror in Blind's chest. So that is certainly going to open up quite a lot of possibilities for this seed.
There's a lot of locations that we need the mirror to check, and it also helps a lot with writing in a lot of dungeons and a lot of overworld writing and whatnot. Makes it a lot more efficient.
Also opens up the entirety of Swamp Palace. So there's 6 items in there, but it is a pendant. Could be an interesting gamble. Plus the green pendant if you decide to complete it. So that would be 7 items total out of what is a admittedly long trip. So where do you think Dr. Marty's going to be heading after this?
Well, there's a few more chests to check in Village of Outcasts, and I could see him heading up to maybe grab a couple of chests in Skullwoods. Heading down to the swamp area is another possibility, however. There's, strictly speaking, 12 items that are counting Hype Cave. And there's a couple of mirror spots kicking about there as well. There's a lot of items down there.
It looks like Nakachu's going to head down towards Hype Cave first. With that high density, it is very appealing. Won't have the mirror, but is going to have access to a lot more items by density as Dr. Marty takes down Blind and picks up the compass.
That's his second crystal in the bag. 5 more to go.
Now, we didn't see Dr. Marty go in and check that big chest. That's because that big chest was not accessible. It had a small key in it, which is required to get there. And we get the first glove on Nakachoo's side in Hype Cave. So Hype Cave living up to its name, despite having 4 out of 5 terrible items.
It only takes 1. The glove is definitely a big prize this late in the seed. There's our bacon coin in the chest game. With Mara required, that has the potential to be useful.
Definitely want to see as many of those as you can before you head there. Still 2 gloves away from even learning what that is, as well as the cane from completing it. But welcome nonetheless. Also helpful for menuing. It's just very nice to fill out your menu.
Yeah, definitely so. I've seen a lot of newer runners, myself especially, just get overly confused as to how to menu. The cursor never seems to do what you expect it to do.
Gonna go up and check what Stumpy has on the right side. Just a piece of heart. Stumpy, a great example of, again, how the Link to the Past community is not the best at naming things. But
I think we're gonna have a digging game high 5 in a second.
Maximum of 30 digs to get this item. Both of our runners more than capable of digging quickly enough to get the item, even if it does end up being number 30. Which is becoming more and more likely as these digs go on. My goodness, that's a lot of digs. There it is. Not even useful. We'll leave it there on the ground. Does manage to get out of the digging game screen before the digging game person yells at them, though. Always a win.
Yeah. Every second counts whenever you're saving time. And see, Nakachoo's issue with his routing is now he has to save him quick, which is unfortunately going to send him right back to the light world because he doesn't have a mirror.
Just a single rupee south of the Grove. Still going to be a little bit of an efficiency gain for Dr. Marty at this point with that mirror.
These spots, they may not have any items in them, however, Nakachuu doesn't know that and will probably end up checking them at some stage later. Apparently we pick up the shovel at some stage. I completely missed that.
Same. We're good at this game.
I think it might have been in the bombable hut. He had a bit of lag there, and we missed the item.
Oh yeah, no, it was definitely the lag. It definitely wasn't us. Yeah, definitely. Nakachoo gonna hookshot across, gonna go and do what Dr. Marty just did, as Dr. Marty does what Nakachoo just did, and heads towards Hype Cave.
Might see Dr. Marty end his trip down the south side of Dark World with a trip into Swamp Palace.
So now that we know what both of our runners are going to find, where do we think they're going to head next?
Well, for Dr. Marty, there aren't a huge number of choices. He could head all the way back up Dark World to Skullwoods in the Graveyard Ledge area, or he could head into Palace of Darkness, and neither of those choices seem quite as good as the 7 items in Swamp. That's a lot of items. It's a lot of time, but...
Skullwood's also a possibility, 2 items and a crystal, but that Mothula fight with Green Mail, Master Sword, with no half magic, might not be quite as appealing.
It's also very, very far away. He'd need to walk all, because you can't get back through Village of Outcast from this side with just 1 minute. Just have to walk all the way around Dark World again.
So gonna take that Swamp Palace play, it looks like. And this is something where it could be quite a difference between our two runners here. Nakachuu could easily knock out Thieves Town and Skull Woods and find some piece of progression in there that Dr. Marty missed, so we could see a bit of divergence here.
Yeah, definitely so. With Nakachuu having checked Hype Cave already, he has no other reason to be down here, so if Swamp's probably the last thing in his mind, even once he finds him there.
Yeah, Swamp is a dungeon that takes a long time to get into and out of. It takes a long time to clear, but it can be quite fruitful. So a lot of runners like to try to avoid it. If it does end up being a crystal, which unfortunately it is not today, going through without checking it, a go mode clear, if you will be significantly faster. But we're going to get the full clear from Dr. Marty today. Could elect to skip the boss, whether or not Argus has an item today.
With the Green Pendant, I feel that if you're going to come in here and clear most of the dungeon, you probably want to kill Argus for the Green Pendant while you're here. It would be horrible if you had to come back into Swamp Palace or Pendant Swamp Palace.
It certainly does. Killing Argus certainly does lean towards leaning into your gamble and really committing to it. And so in that sense, I'm very much in favor of it.
Yeah, it's entirely because of the Green Pendant. If he wasn't if it was a non-green pendant, I could see arguments for not doing Argus. Nakachuu getting his Master Sword. He's going to opt to clear. It looked like he was considering leaving, but is opting to clear the dungeon.
I think it's her Master Sword.
Yes, sorry. I need to stop doing that. My bad.
So Nakachuu going to head towards Blind now into the back. Can complete this dungeon. We'll pick up a mirror for her troubles.
Definitely worth the trip. It's and not necessarily a required item in this seed, but it'll definitely speed up routing.
And we're going to see a little bit of a delay on Dr. Marty's side before there are any more items collected, just because the left side of Swamp is not the fastest routing in the game.
Opting not to flood that key, it's probably a good idea. Did that myself a few times.
I mean, there's a lot for our runners to keep track of. There's a lot going on. They're thinking, what do I have to do now to execute? They're also fighting enemies and monsters along their way. They're also thinking, where am I going next? If there's nothing in here, where am I going? Because you have to have that in mind. You can't get out of a dungeon, not picked up anything, and then pause for 30 seconds. It's just not time you can afford to lose. Especially in the, we're already in the third round and we're seeing a much closer races than we did in the first 2 rounds. So there's a lot going on mentally. They have to keep track of a lot more state than we do, even, and execute on top of all of that. So definitely credit to these runners doing this in a 1v1 situation, and here on Speed Gaming, no less.
In front of the crowd. It's a lot harder to keep track of everything than you'd think, and especially there may be some nerves coming into it as well, given that they're in front of the crowd, as you put it.
Nakachuu down to 1.5 hearts, coming back after bombing that floor. Not as scary now that the floor has been bombed, but still just want to take an extra second, make sure you're not getting hit. Pulls out the powder, knows that there's a fairy right here. Down to 0.5 heart first, making us nervous, but gets the powder on the fairy nonetheless.
Yeah, the basement is a little less threatening than the attic is. Those grasshoppers can be very erratic.
I hate those grasshoppers. Those are just they're awful. They just do so much damage. If they did the 1/4 heart nonsense that the rats do, it wouldn't be nearly as bad. Nakachuu having the gloves coming to Thieves now, I'm going to be able to lift that rock. Not going to be a significant time save, but you know, it adds up.
Definitely so. She'll be picking up her mirror. Probably pleased to see that, knowing that the trip at the Thieves' time was well worth it.
Generous heart drops too, so able to come out of this basement with full hearts. A full row of hearts even, and gonna go and give Blind the business now.
See the last few chests in Swamp Palace. See if our big chest is, our big key is down here. No, we'll have to walk even further back.
And with that half magic, there's always going to be a welcome safety for either of our runners. However, not quite the progression that Dr. Marty was looking for.
Yeah, that coupled with the magic cape makes a lot of fights a lot easier. If we're still sort of in a similar gear level for Victorious, I find the magic cape is extremely useful for it.
Speaking of the magic cape, we see that being pulled out for Nakachuu over here against Blind. And uses it to great success. Even holds onto the wall to limit magic usage during, you know, the head spawning phase of the fight.
Yeah, it's a great fight. Nice and fast. And full magic refill straight afterwards means she didn't even really lose anything.
And it looks like Dr. Marty is going to fight Argus, going to get that extra item. Hopefully it won't be the big key, and hopefully not going to have to head back into the dungeon. Unless the big key was already picked up and I missed it.
No, I don't think we've got the big key, but there's the complete possibility that it's in the big chest. See Nakachuu heading off to Skullwoods. See something new over there.
And Dr. Marty going to use 4 spin slashes against Argus here to finish him off. And there he goes, easy as pie. Where's that saying come from, easy as pie? Pie is not easy to make. It's easy to eat. It's not easy to make.
Maybe it's like we shortened it and it was originally easy as eating pie. Because pie is pretty easy to eat.
Yeah, no, it's very easy to eat. Not really a breakfast food, though. Oh, I guess it's not breakfast time everywhere. It's only breakfast time where I am.
It's 2 p.m. over here in the UK.
See, that's entirely appropriate time for pie, I feel.
It's always time for pie.
Yeah, no, if somebody put a pie in front of me right now, I wouldn't tell them, no, I didn't want that at all. I would just eat the pie.
I see Nakachuu finding the book in Skullwoods. That gives us access to Desert Pass. Find the boots as well. Skullwoods is loaded.
That is quite the Skull Woods. So Dr. Marty are going to be kicking themselves a little once they head back, knowing that was available instead of that Swamp Palace play as they make this long walk back. And Nakachuu going to finish out the dungeon. Might as well. You're going to get a pedestal check in here as well with that book and mirror at the end of Skull Woods. Doesn't have the half magic to fight Mothula, but won't need it, I'm sure. You get a B. She's got a B. Just use B strats. Can't lose.
I'm kind of impressed that Floormaster didn't grab her there.
Yeah, this is something else. Takes a death, not too much of a time loss at all, though. Dr. Marty obviously knows what Mothula has in store. Going to pick up a potion. Looks at that B. Do I want to give up that B? No. B's too valuable. See? B strats. Can't beat him.
The handy thing about finding both the items early is we don't have to do this dumb chest in this last area that takes like a year to get to.
It's another use of the boomerang. The hook shot won't stun those Gibdos, but the boomerang will. So we might see. I mean, we won't see Dr. Marty check it, but I don't know what my point was there. There was none. We're all done. We're not doing that chest at all today.
See a catfish check from Dr. Marty.
And it's the Titan's Mitts, so that is what we're looking for. That's going to open up a lot more. It's going to open up Dark Death Mountain. It's going to open up possibly That's a lot of things. That opens up Ice Palace. That opens up possibly Misery Mire, at least part of it. That opens up. Oh, that's it. That's the end of the things, as well as a number of overworld locations. So that's going to really, really open up these routing possibilities. And Dr. Marty, that Zorachek is eating at them in the back of their mind. So going to go over here, spend those 500 rupees on that piece of heart.
It'll be interesting to see when Nakachuu manages to make his way over to Catfish, make her way over. And also when Dr. Marty's going to end up doing Skull Woods, because he's committed a little to leaving Skull Woods for later. I could see him checking Death Mountain or something first, which the longer he goes without those bits, the worse it'll be for him.
Death Mountain and the Mire area are both very valuable places to check. With only one pendant, you really want to learn as soon as possible what those entrance requirements are so you can tell whether or not you're in go mode and when exactly they open up for you. And looks like Dr. Marty not quite going to do that yet. I would have bet money they were going to the Mire area. We're down to one heart on the Nakachuu side on this Mothula fight. Gonna dance around those spikes and gets the kill. Very impressive.
A great fight. Gets her second crystal. Third crystal, in fact.
That's fantastic work. So we get an early crystal lead for Nakachuu now as Dr. Marty heads into ice. Gotta think this is another gamble, as ice is something that generally runners want to save until go mode so that they can skip the entire dungeon, just go right to cold stare. But also 3 items in here, so could be a good play, and we are going to get that pedestal check from Nakachuu right now with that book.
Yeah, I feel that Dr. Marty probably feels a little behind, having just did a pendant swamp and found nothing. Especially when he knew that Titans was out there and not locked behind Swamp Palace.
What was pedestal? I missed it.
I'm not sure. I'm going to check the live stream. It's a ball.
Sorry, it's what?
It's a ball.
Oh, well, we don't need that. That's sad.
You have 2 already.
So Nakachuu heading south.
Looks like.
Let's see where she's headed. Meanwhile, Dr. Marty making his way through the Ice Palace.
Looks like desert is the plan.
We do have a flute.
I was thinking that. Oh, I didn't want to bring it up, but.
Well, Hyrule is a very scenic place. Might want to take the scenic route. Dr. Marty looks like they're going to end up doing a bomb jump here. A little difficult to line up. You got to be not quite pixel perfect, but there's, only a couple of pixels. You got to get right on the edge there. And looks like they got it. Nope, a little too low.
It can sometimes be a little awkward with some of the custom sprites. It's also interesting to see a lot of these runners will always do this bomb jump. It's not much faster whenever you're going to full clear the dungeon anyway. In go mode, obviously, you do it all of the time.
Not doing the bomb jump leaves open the possibility that Cold Stare has a small key, and in that case, you're going to need the red cane. So I am in favor of always doing the bomb jump if you're looking to kill the boss and you do not have the red cane in your inventory, just in case you want to get it killed.
Samaria can occasionally be a required item in Ice Palace, which isn't how it would work in vanilla. I think Nakachuu had second thoughts about going over to Desert Palace. I'm not 100% sure where she's heading now. I'm probably to check the Ether tablet, maybe.
Certainly a one-off location, but also has access to Spike Cave here with that cape and those gloves now.
And strictly speaking, Nakachuu hasn't checked Spiral Cave either.
So 2 to 3 items up here. Just going to be satisfied with the 120 rupees, though. We're going to head out. Back to Sanctuary. Gotta think that points towards Bonkrocks.
No, one of those annoying items or annoying one-off locations that are a bit awkward to check. Nothing in Ice Palace so far.
And just 10 arrows in those bonk rocks. So we get a couple of overworld one-off locations out of the way on Nakachu's side. Meanwhile, Dr. Marty still climbing through Ice Palace. Is it descending? Is it ascending? I don't know which way you go here in Ice Palace. It does have 2 keys, so it doesn't look like the boss is going to have that small key here.
It means that with Samaria not required, then it could leave some progression on Cold Star. It means he should logically be finishing the dungeon.
And Bombos in the big chest, so another possibility for being able to get into that Misery Mire entrance.
And definitely helpful since we still don't know what the entrance requirement is. We see Nakachuu heading into Swamp Palace, and Dr. Marty will be making up the time he lost in there.
So I think after this, both of our runners are going to feel as though they're behind, which seems to be a common theme throughout this tournament. Lots of runners, get an hour in, as our runners are now, and believe that they're behind. It's an interesting mentality. Not a lot of people think that, oh yeah, no, I made a good play, this paid off, I'm definitely ahead right now. Everyone just kind of panic that they're behind.
Yeah, it seems to be the way to go in the one-on-one races. You always assume that your opponent has made the best play possible and you're making the worst play as possible, and it can play in your mind, definitely.
And of course, we haven't had that green pendant check yet, so this could result in both of our runners believing that they're way ahead if the Shrazala happens to have the bow today, for example. And we're not sequence broken at all, are we? Not even a little bit.
No, the only thing with sequence broken in this seed was the saving the old man, which wasn't a sequence break for very long. We got the lamp shortly afterwards.
Pulling out that Bombos against Cold Stare, going to break the show with it. Saves a little bit of magic. Those fire rod shots do gold sword level damage against each of those puffs. Much more effective than that Master Sword or even the hammer.
And there's the possibility of getting a bit of splash damage as well. A little fire that drops on the ground can hit multiple puffballs. That fight didn't last very long.
We see the power of that fire rod with the +5 arrow capacity upgrade, but the crystal is the important part, and possibly that Bombos.
Well, crystal's a crystal, definitely. Yeah, as you mentioned, Bombos could very well be required.
So the thing of value in Swamp was that half magic, a welcome safety, certainly. But we're going to have to see if that green pendant ends up paying off or not. As Dr. Marty going to head in and get that information about Mire. Maybe take a dip, maybe just do desert. We'll see. Still no boots. We know the boots are in Skullwoods. And Ether, so it is the missing one that we need in order to get in there.
And definitely something that'll be playing in their mind. They'll know exactly when they're in go mode.
Meanwhile, the Tempered Sword is hiding out in the Mire Shed. Level 3 sword plus silver arrow is going to make for a very comfortable Ganon fight.
Yeah, it'll make the net rest of the seed nice and fast. And Checkerboard Cave. Another one of those annoying locations.
Another one of those appropriately named caves.
Yeah, we're good at naming stuff.
And Blue Mail, another very welcome safety. Got to reset Checkerboard Cave. Missed one of those mirror block removal eraser glitch things. Not a problem. These blocks go right back into place once you leave and re-enter.
I wonder if anyone remembers how to do that cave like the intended way. Because you always have mirror at it, so...
Yeah, no, there's no reason to. Question in chat, where are the Titans mitts? Titans mitts are at Quakefish. And at this point, with Nakachuu already having done all of Zora, as well as the Pyramid item, obviously, with the Aghanim defeat, going to be tough to route that back in there other than it being a one-off item, so we'll see. However, the Titans Bits is a very limiting item as far as routing goes, so we'll hopefully run out of locations quickly or just decide to head up there anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the Titans Mitts as a relatively late item because it does lock so many locations. There's only so many places it can be. Team Nakachuu is making short work of Swamp Pass, the left side, on our way to the back end.
And Dr. Marty heading up to Death Mountain, going to open up that Dark World portal on Turtle Rock. Well, Turtle Rock is a pendant, and in fact, you don't have access to it without that red cane at all. There's still quite a number of items up here on the mountain, including 4 in Hookshot Cave, 2 in Super Bunny Cave, and that 1 in Spike Cave, as well as Ether Tablet, which we know to have nothing, unfortunately. But even more than that, there's the knowledge of what does it take to get into Turtle Rock should our runners decide to take a dip. And it is Quake.
Opening it while he's up here. Reasonable. And Dr. Marty doesn't have his book yet because of his lack of dip in Skullwoods, so he will end up leaving Death Mountain without checking the Ether Tablet. So that might be playing in his mind later.
Yeah, still continues to put off Skull Woods. Maybe with that mirror, they're waiting to get the book in order to make that pedestal check just in case. Again, information in this game is so important.
Yeah, definitely. So, or maybe waiting for maybe the boots so that he could check King's Tomb while he's in the area, which is also in Skullwoods.
And we get the bow in Hookshot Cave, so that's going to open up all of Palace of Darkness, as well as allow our runners to finish Eastern Palace. So that's going to be a total of 5 items available, plus 2 crystals for Dr. Marty once they decide to head in that direction.
We see Ether was also in there in Hookshot Cave, so that's our Mara entrance sorted out. No Kane as yet to finish the dungeon, but we're one step closer to go mode.
So what do we need? Let's take stock. We have that Ether. Are we just missing Red Cane? We could beat Skull, Pod, Eastern. Ice is down. So yeah, we are a Red Cane away from go mode here.
There's a possibility that we need Boots to get to finish Desert, but we know where Boots is, and Dr. Marty will undoubtedly find them in Skullwoods before he goes. Well, hopefully before he goes to Desert.
And Nakachuu taking a death to Argus, unfortunately. We'll see if they decide to come back in or not. Argus, when you're facing up, looking at Argus, the puffs have a much higher chance of actually damaging you. So a lot of runners try to, just do those initial ones, and if they get low health, you're going to look at side hook shots and hook shots from the top of the screen rather than the bottom. So we'll see if... So we know there's nothing on pedestal. We don't know if there's anything on Trahasla, and it looks like we're going to get that check right here from Dr. Marty. So we're going to see if this ends up paying off, being okay for Nakachuu, or if it ends up really, really paying off for Dr. Marty in just a single rupee. So no big loss on Nakachuu's side at all for dying to Argus.
Nakachuu's going to check her shovel location while Dr. Mardio heads into Palace of Darkness. So, loot central at the minute, and with that bow and hammer and lantern, we can fully clear the dungeon as well. I saw a bit of mention earlier in chat about the ice rod. We know that the ice rod is on the floating island in Death Mountain in Lightworld.
Ice Rod definitely not necessary for the seed, as the last item that we need is going to be the Red Cane. And the Red Cane obviously cannot be in Turtle Rock, as you need the Red Cane to get to Turtle Rock. So that Ice Rod is off the table. I don't expect either of our runners to pick it up.
Dr. Marty finishing off Eastern before he heads into Palace of Darkness. It's a pretty solid play. could be something in here that'll speed up his Palace of Darkness, like the boots, which aren't in here.
So we've already cleared out all of the items in here, as we saw early. We noticed our runners didn't check that dark room at all, or even attempt it, because the 3 items were in the first 3 out of the 4 chests. But
Yes,
what will happen is Dr. Marty is going to get a full health refill going into pod. And with that mirror, no need for death warps or anything. So just getting the easier dungeon out of the way, getting the full health refill going into pod is very welcome. You got to do both of them anyway. You might as well do them in this order.
very true. We see Nakachuu heading up to get her Titan's mitts from Quakefish.
She'll be quite relieved to see those. And that'll really open up the rest of the world to Nakachuu. Gonna pick up some potions on the way. This is the same thing Dr. Marty did. It's a welcome safety. It's on the way. It's a great time for this.
See the Silver Arrows making short work of the Igors in Eastern Palace.
And they're going to make even shorter work of these 6 Armos Knights. 1 shot each for all of the Knights. That was a little redundant, wasn't it? Yeah, just a little bit. And down goes the Armos Knights. Gives up the compass. And more importantly, the crystal.
And that was an extremely fast fight. Didn't even see a glimpse of the red Armos.
And so into the Palace of Darkness we go on Dr. Marty's side, while Nakachuu holds up their reward of the Titan's Mitts. Takes a couple of slashes for joy. Obviously very excited and very happy to see those. Going to think of for a second about routing now, as a lot more of the world has just opened up. And we're in go mode. That's it. We're not even going to mess around. It's just the first item in Palace of Darkness. So we are in go mode on Dr. Marty's side at 116.5.
The boots could still potentially be required. He will get them eventually, but I could see him clearing out some chests looking for the boots. He hasn't been in Desert Palace at all yet.
I would a 1 in 22 chance of the boots being required, and the ability to skip Skull 1 entirely, which is where the boots are hidden. I go right past them, and we'll see if Dr. Marty does the same. But I'm inclined to believe that Dr. Marty will not be picking up the boots in this seed at all.
Yeah, I completely forgot that Desert Palace isn't the crystal, so that's what. Or my brain was off.
Right. Yes, of course. So that torch can have a key, but not today, as Nakachuu decides to take the dip into Ice Palace. So this will come up with another crystal for Nakachuu here. But no progression in here. That Bombos ended up not being needed at all. So Dr. Marty just looking for the big key in here. Doesn't have to do anything else. And gonna head directly to the back of pod where the higher item density lies.
Set up for the hammer jump, one of the more impressive bomb jumps in the game. That'll help his riding a lot.
Nakachuu getting bodied a bit by those penguinators, by the penguins. Unfortunately taking death, going back to the beginning of Ice Palace. Not going to be too much of a time loss, but still every little bit adds up here. And Nakachuu, of course, still looking for the bow as well as ether and the red cane. So 3 items away on the right side while we are in go mode on the left side. Going to be tough, but anything can happen here in Randomizer as Dr. Marty continues looking for that big key.
Nakachu's making good use of her quick medallion, clearing out those rooms nice and fast.
I was not even aware that Quake kills those things. So Dr. Marty gets the big key. Doesn't have any small keys, though. So we're going to have to find a small key before we head to the back of Pod and fight the Helmosaur King. There's that small key. Grabs it. Knows exactly what he needs. And Nakachuu is still rocking that green mail, so we know Dr. Marty picked up that blue mail in Checkerboard Cave. Nakachuu, with the Titans bits having been acquired so recently, hasn't had a chance to get over there yet. Elected to go to a crystal dungeon that opened up first, which is a very wise play, honestly. If there's a crystal dungeon available to you, it is almost certainly correct to head there first, and we're going to see no bomb jump on Nakachu's side. Health being a bit of a concern here. I think this is a smart decision. You don't want to bomb yourself and fall into that gap and have to go back to the beginning of Ice Palace.
Dr. Marty made an interesting choice of coming through the front door of Palace of Darkness, using his only key to get through the front door. He hasn't worked that one out yet. I'm sure the penny will drop any second.
It's certainly going to drop very soon. I haven't heard that expression before. That's a good one. And there it is. Push against the door all you want. Not going to help. We're going to be needing the mirror at this point. Okay, we're going back up the stairs. So Nakachuu still nursing that heart and a half over on the right side here. Plenty to work with. Does have potions available should she choose to use them, as well as the powder here for this anti-fairy. Pulls that out in anticipation. And unfortunately takes a death to the little shadow thing. So going all the way back to the beginning of Ice Palace. But heads right back in. I really admire going right back in here. This is a difficult situation. It is difficult to keep yourself in this just emotionally and keep your concentration. So definitely lots of credit to Nakachuu here. And we'll remind you to follow both of these runners here. Both of these runners are putting on one heck of a show after 1 hour and 22 minutes for us here this morning on Speed Gaming. So give both of these runners a follow. Links are in chat.
Yeah, perseverance is definitely necessary whenever you're learning this game. During a race situation, the nerves, tension will be running high.
And Dr. Marty going to head into the Helmosaur King fight. A lot of runners like to stick their sword out and get a little bit of guidance from it by sticking it out, but Dr. Marty going to go for the slightly faster strats of just using straight hammer against the Helmosaur King's mask. And Helma, of course, kind enough to stand still, wagging the tail. That is one weird looking cat.
He's a good boy to that, at least. Finds the strictly superior boomerang of Helmosaur.
So after grabbing that crystal and completing the boomerang collection, they are going to go on to Skull Woods and Misery Mire. We'll see where we head first. Misery Mire, about the same in go mode and not. Skull Woods, of course, can be quite shorter. And it looks like Mire's going to be the first one, so we're going to leave Skull Woods till last.
See, our first trip into Mara for either player be putting that Aether Medallion to good use. Sure, we'll have a short trip in here with the Tempered Sword, and Silver Arrows will make short work of the boss at the very least.
Vitreous is one of those bosses that the difficulty can vary wildly based on your inventory. If you have those silver arrows and a bunch of hearts, this is no problem at all. Even if you have at least a Tempered Sword, it's not really much of a problem. But if you're looking at no bow and Master Sword, I mean, it can be a daunting task to fight the pile of eyeballs.
Yeah, I've seen a few races that even devolved into bomb strats on Vitreous. It actually doesn't look that bad to do. It looks kind of fun, actually.
You certainly need a lot of bombs to do it. I'm not exactly sure how many bomb hits each of the eyeballs take.
Yeah, I think we're like talking in the region of 8 here. I think it's about 20 bombs in total to clear them out.
Wow. But AoE damage should not be underestimated.
Very true. So, Nakachuu taking advantage of that a few times in the Penguinator rooms. And there's a few bomb setups that can quite reliably clear out those little penguins.
And you see those bomb setups mainly used in low percentage runs of this game. You can't quite sword spin to kill them in one shot like you can with the Tempered Sword. And that's why those bomb strats have been developed. And you have boots at that point, obviously, which is what Nakachuu has. So we are going to see a direct route over on the left side to the boss here, with that big key being in one of the first 2 chests, which is definitely a welcome sight for Dr. Marty.
An extremely fast mark. Nakachuu picking up her big key for ice balls.
Missing out on that chest for hitting the button. There was nothing inside of it, so this is not going to hurt her at all. But still a mental mistake that you don't quite want to make.
And there's a few slightly hidden chests in a few of the dungeons that typically don't have anything in them, and then suddenly become extremely important to not miss in Randomizer. It's the one in the Waterfall Cave and Swamp always caught me off guard whenever I just started.
So that lamp and silver arrow is going to make quick work of this Misery Mire dungeon. Not so miserable today. Pulls out the silver arrows already. Going to be 1 silver arrow shot for each of those mini eyeballs as we get the machine gun out, and we are done with those already. Not a single shot. Oh, we did miss 1 shot. And then 2 silvers to the eye. Gonna take care of the big eyeball. Small key. We are out of here. We're on to Skullwoods.
Dr. Marty is quite swiftly getting towards Ganon Start. I saw a few people asking where the boots were there in Skullwoods. See if Dr. Marty picks them up. I doubt it, given the chest that they're in. But stranger things have happened.
Boots were in the room to the east of the big chest in Skull Woods. That is not generally going to be an area that a runner in go mode is going to check, but we'll see what Dr. Marty does. Certainly didn't go back into Mire to check those, find out what Mire was holding today, but that's a long check. Skull Woods, of course, a much faster check. Skips right over the hole, walks right past the entrance. No boots on Dr. Marty's side today. We're going right to Skull Woods. We don't have time for the boots.
Yep, beelining Mothula.
Nakachuu gonna head up Death Mountain now, into the Dark World. Only 1 heart left, but no dead rocks in the Dark World, so that is a welcome relief. So Nakachuu going to be brought much, much closer to go mode at this point with both the bow and... I thought Ether was up there. Nakachuu already has Ether? Where was Ether? No, Nakachuu has Bombos. Okay.
I think Ether was up here. I think our tracker might be mistaken.
The tracker's not mistaken. Nakachuu clearly has Bombos. Shout outs to the tracker. So this is going to be a little bit of an easier Mothula fight for Dr. Marty, having that Temper Sword and quite a bit more health than what Nakachuu had. But Nakachuu was able to get the job done on the first try. Also has half magic.
Yep, half magic will definitely make the rest of this... make the rest a lot easier for her. Lots and lots of cape to be used.
Cape, we're going all offense, no defense with this magic. This is Fire Rod magic. Getting hit a little bit by those spikes, taking a heart of damage for each of them. Those spikes do not care what color clothes you're wearing. They're doing a heart of damage one way or another. And the big bug explodes.
Marty picks up the 7th crystal.
And Nakachu's going to go ahead and pick up that Ice Rod now. So not a required item in this seed. But does fill out the menu. And is the bow the go mode item? Is the red cane the go mode item for Nakachuu? So yeah, it's not going to be required at all for Nakachuu. They will not be able to take a dip into Turtle Rock to put that Ice Rod to good use.
And we're on our way to Ganon's Tower. You guys want to get your guesses in for where the big key will be?
Oh, what do we do? What do we do to start the game? Oh, there it is. So 1 to 22, get your guesses in chat. If you've donated 250 bits or more to Speed Gaming, or if you're a subscriber to any of our Speed Gaming family of channels, you are eligible to make our leaderboard with a correct guess here. The Ganon's Tower Big Key is the last item that Dr. Marty is going to need in order to complete this game. It can be in any of the first 22 chests in Ganon's Tower. So put your guesses in now. So we get a couple of guesses saying 3 here. 3 is typically the lamp. Gonna have to go back and find those boots. That could really, really shake things up for this seed.
Yeah, it'll definitely make things interesting.
I think Dr. Marty would disagree. I think Dr. Marty does not want any more interesting for this seed, especially after that Swamp Palace dip. And Nakachuu is in go mode at 133.05. And no boots to sneak past these Lionels, but manages to come away without taking any damage anyway, as Nakachuu heads to the right side of Pod. All right, and here we go up Ganon's Tower. I don't know how you close entries for that guessing game, or if you do. Guessing game is closed. Everybody guessed anyway already. And we see the initial first side check. There's a couple of valid routes throughout Ganon's Tower as we see just a bunch of rupees in these first two chests. Gonna go left side now. This is definitely the most common of the routes.
And grab those first couple of chests, and typically I see the runners head full right if the...
Oh my goodness!
It's
on the torch!
That's interesting.
The boots are required. We're gonna do a full clear now of Ganon's Tower to try to find those boots. They are not going to be here, though. They are going to be in Skull Woods, Skull 1 specifically. And Dr. Marty, not what they wanted to see at all. Nakachuu is not out of this. Nakachuu has the boots and is in actual go mode. While Dr. Marty is going to be searching those boots, and the search around Ganon's Tower is not a fast one.
This race just got a whole lot more interesting.
And this is why we play Randomizer. This is why I want to commentate for these moments. Look at this. This is great. So taking care of those next 4 chests for Dr. Marty, they're going to have 22 chests to check total, including the tile room.
On a related note, congratulations to Daniel Collin, our first sub in that got the correct answer of 3 for the big key guessing game.
So if you're Dr. Marty, what's running through your mind right now? What are you thinking? Are you able to keep it together? Are you panicking that your opponent has the boots? What's going through your mind, do you think?
I'm not sure how I'd react to this situation, but he's made reasonably thorough checks in most places. Palace of Darkness and Skullwoods are basically the only dungeons he hasn't full cleared, so I can understand why he's just going to go through Ganon's Tower and hope for the best. If they aren't in Ganon's, well, when they're not in Ganon's Tower, that's when you start worrying a little, I think. Because at the minute...
Go ahead, finish your thought.
At the minute, we're still... Dr. Marty's still under the impression that he's just... Boots are in Ganon's Tower, it doesn't matter. My opponent's in the same situation. When he finishes clearing Ganon's Tower, that's when the panic's going to set in, I think.
So where do you think the first place to check is? Because we have... I said the Ice Rod's not going to be used for this seed, but we have Turtle Rock open and available. That's a solid 6 items right there. We have Desert that hasn't been touched by either runner, I don't believe. That's another 2 items right there. Skull Woods, of course, still has 2 items. Misery Mire still has 2 items.
It's hard to tell. If he... What I think he probably is thinking he needs to do is check Turtle Rock, to be honest. Because if his opponent made different routing decisions than him, then they have the boots. So going back into a dungeon is just... If boots are in a dungeon, he's lost already type line of thinking. So I think he probably just goes into Turtle Rock and hopes for the best.
I think that's very, very solid reasoning, very sound reasoning, and we'll see if Dr. Marty agrees. Unfortunately, that's going to put him even further back away from these boots as they are in Skull Woods.
We'll see Nakachuu making her way through Palace of Darkness. Her just significantly less far behind than she was 5 minutes ago, which is good for her.
And we see Dr. Marty slip sliding on that ice, wishes he had the boots to align himself a little bit. And gets the bad news that the boots are not on the left side, at least 5 more chests that are accessible to him here in Ganon's Tower without that big key.
Do you check Tower Room now, or do you check the 3 chests first?
I check the compass chests first. I don't want to see Tile Room at all. But I certainly check Tile Room before I leave here today.
Oh, most definitely.
And we get a powder here, and it looks like we're doing Tile Room right now. Gonna set that B free finally. Didn't get a chance to use it earlier. Oh, the B's gonna take care of the tiles.
That's so cute. That's hilarious, actually. I didn't know bees could do that.
There's multiple things we've learned in this seed. The Quake can take care of those penguins, and the bees can take care of tiles.
The bee is doing its best. Leave him alone.
Oh, he's doing a great job. And just a small key from the tile room today, so a vanilla item. We got 4 chests left in Ganon's Tower before we have to head back out into the world. A little bit of damage boost off the spike as we light the final torches.
Nakachoo's just picked up her big key for Palace of Darkness. Will probably not be... Well, she doesn't have a key at the minute, so we might be seeing the same error of her compared to Dr. Marty. Pass with keys is important.
And it certainly looks that way, hitting that crystal switch. And Dr. Marty gets the bad news. There are no boots here in this dungeon. Did manage to pick up red mail, though, which will be useful for that Trinex fight in a little while.
Let's see where he heads off to now. Quickly check Spike Cave, and then we'll go from there.
No fetch quest items were picked up in Ganon's Tower, as far as I could tell either. So we're not going to get, chasing the mushroom or anything now immediately, which would be just as good as the boots being in Ganon's Tower from a, my opponent is in trouble just as much as I am point of view.
Yeah, definitely. So our 4th ball in there as well. Or 3rd ball, the 4th is being on the pedestal. See where he's off to now.
And the pedestal is legitimately a concern right now. If Desert Palace does not require the boots, we're gonna go to, where are we going? Dr. Marty's got a plan. Dr. Marty knows what the call is here.
It looks like he's doing Pyramid Fry, which is another good plan. It's another couple of items that his opponent would be getting around the same time as him. Given that Mar was our last dungeon and it was the one of the red crystals. I like the order he's doing these. He's definitely playing as if his opponent's in the same situation. It's very interesting to see.
And Nakachuu gets their boomerang as Helmasaur King goes down to that silver arrow right to the dome and adds a crystal to her count. So while Dr. Marty's checking all these, Nakachoo's catching up. Nakachuu continues to make progress on these crystals. Has an Eastern Palace right here that's going to add another one to that count. Just has Ice and Mire remaining after this. Now, of course, in go mode, Nakachuu not that likely to check that Mire shed which will result in that Tempered Sword. It is a quick check, though, so we'll see if she decides to take a dip into there and gets that weapon upgrade or not. I mean, we're talking about, sword upgrades could make the difference here in this seed, depending on how long Dr. Marty goes searching for these boots.
Yeah, the Marshed and the Checkerboard Cave for Blue Mail as well aren't particularly slow checks, so we could see Nakachuu pick up those.
And Dr. Marty going to head back to the Spooky Ledge, it looks like. Spooky Ledge is a location where you're not going to... you're not going to check this without boots, generally, because you want to route this in with the King's Tomb, with Bonk Rocks. But when boots are the only one you're looking for...
And him being in this area isn't a good sign for Nakachuu. Skullwoods is just over there, so we might see him pop into Skullwoods after this.
More bad news in the form of 50 rupees. And back into the Dark World. Skull Woods is almost certainly on the menu at this point.
Probably Bumper Cave check first, and then, yeah, looks that way.
Using the hookshot to get around the Dark World a little bit easier. Doesn't have those boots yet, so we'll do whatever he can to maneuver faster.
Are we little counts at this stage?
And those silver arrows taking down Armos Knights on the right side of your screen. And Nakachuu picks up her 5th crystal. Sorry, counting is really hard.
He's making good progress towards her trip to Ganon Star. Hers will be a lot shorter than Dr. Marty's would or was.
And Dr. Marty digging into Skull Woods, thinking after seeing that book, oh god, I'm gonna have to go in the desert, or it's gonna be behind one of the tablets. And well, don't worry, Dr. Marty, you're about to pick up your boots. So back into ice for Nakachuu, gonna go and finish off Cold Stare this time. Has that red cane, so much easier to get through without the aid of the bomb jump. And at 1:45:55, we have go mode for Dr. Marty.
He seems very pleased.
Not an ounce of panic in his entire body right now, I bet. So Dr. Marty getting lucky with his routing, still probably panicking a bit. We'll see if those nerves get to him or not. In his second trip through Ganis Tower, making use of that spin speed though while he has it.
Yeah, and he has probably the toughest part of Ganon's Tower coming up, the gauntlet. Granted, he has tempered sword and silvers, but it's still not super easy.
It's a challenge regardless of what equipment you might have on you. So something definitely where you gotta keep your head on your shoulders. Picking up 300 rupees on the way. Just wants to be 1,000 there going into the final fight here, I think. And Nakachuu gonna attempt a bomb jump this time, it looks like. Nope, getting right out of there. No need for a bomb jump with that red cane and having already cleared out a bunch of this dungeon. So this is definitely the faster option at this point in the game. Dr. Marty taking a little bit of a detour going around Death Mountain to that Turtle Rock Dark World entrance. But perfectly valid, making progress.
It's the two routes up Death Mountain. It's always like they look about the same speed. It's hard to tell exactly which one would be faster.
Dr. Marty heading up Ganis Tower, realizing he does have the boots, but not the big key yet. So going to take that first bonk of the game and hold up that big key high.
I'll head straight up the gauntlet. It's very low in magic, so he won't have a lot of fire rod shots, but I'm sure that his tempered sword and silver arrows will do him well.
I believe he also has a potion.
I think he has a blue potion, and I think he grabbed a fairy in the tile room as well.
Yeah, definitely a fairy right there.
Well equipped.
So all set for the rest of this tower here. Gonna manipulate those mimics, swinging the sword, moving the D-pad, getting them into place so you can knock them down with that bow. And Nakachuu makes it all the way to Cold Stare with a healthy amount of health. As Bombos sheds that shell from the Ice Eye Monster Man. Taking a lot of hits early, though. Down to 3 hearts. Each of those Cold Stare hugs could cost her 4 hearts. Little bit more in control now. Ooh, comes a little close. Gonna need to finish off that last puff with the sword. Takes a death right at the end. That's brutal. Dr. Marty starting their gauntlet. Nakachuu, though, go ahead and right back in. Doesn't have the magic, unfortunately, to use against that Freezor there. Got to burn it with the Fire Rod.
In Green Mail, Cold Stare hits very, very, very hard.
You are intended to have the blue mail at that point. Blue mail is the vanilla big chest item for Ice Palace, so the game definitely wanted you to at least somewhat make use of that newly upgraded defense. So coming in here with the green mail definitely makes it for a very difficult fight. As Dr. Marty getting a little low on health himself, gets the full magic refill, which is very, very welcome at this point, and makes it through the final round of the gauntlet on the land mode 2 with the full heart refill, or the partial full heart refill. He got a bunch of hearts from the fairy.
And nailing the first one with the silver arrow. Gonna try and nail the other 2. Lag can really, really throw you off there. Silver arrows cause a lot of lag.
No, sparkles aren't free. This game is not good at doing multiple things at the same time. But land mode 2 does go down, and we are on to the final areas of Ganon's Tower.
The funnest rooms in Ganon's Tower. The rooms that seem designed for Kingdom of Samaria.
And I wonder if they were. Did the developers know that you're going to be able to Kingdom of Samaria all 3 of those guys at once? Probably not. They were just mind-bogglingly lucky with how well this game turned out for the randomizer.
Well, typically you'd have a Kingdom of Samaria here anyway. I think that instance might have been planned.
Well, credit to them then. This is arguably the best video game of all time here, as I'm sure many of the viewers in chat will agree. We're going to get this last 4 torches here for Dr. Marty. That's the end of magic usage for now. I'm going to take a magic refill. Not going to check those last chests. The only thing of value that could really be in them is the butter sword. Not too much difference between butter and tempered. And I am very surprised that that bomb didn't go through. But the second one finds its mark. A little bit of powder on this anti-fairy. Top off on health as well as top off on magic. Full resources. 14 hearts. Blue mail. Red mail. Red sword. We're going. Half magic. We got everything. We got silvers.
Makes short work of Troll Arm. No falls this time. Getting his own back.
Not going to check that Moldorm 2 chest. Again, not much that can be useful in there. He did manage to not despawn Ganon's Tower, so it won't even be useful for getting back after another reclimb. Nakachuu, 11 hearts, green mail, going to go attempt this Cold Stare fight again. Takes off the initial shell with that Bombos again. Still a good decision as Dr. Marty starts his Aghanim 2 fight. And taking an early hit here against Cold Stare. A couple missed fire rod shots. Back into a corner. Back down to 3 hearts. No potion this time. One heart remaining. This is when butt clenching happens and takes the death again, unfortunately, to that falling piece of ice. And there goes the 6 shards for Dr. Marty against Aghanim 2. So So Nakachuu going to take a little bit of a breather here. Going to flute, I imagine, go get some potions, maybe do a different dungeon. And this is absolutely the right call. You have to do what's best for you in these fights. If you feel like, you know, these potions would help you do these fights, these potions are going to give you the required break that you need, then this is absolutely the right call. So shout out to Nakachuu for doing what's best for her, because that's the only way you stay in these games. And Dr. Marty's going to drop down to the Ganon fight.
Yeah, no shame in blue potions. That's what they're there for. That's why we always end up with like a couple of thousand rupees throughout the seed. Buying lots of blue potions.
And Nakachuu does have the option to go do Misery Mire instead of Ice Palace, but going to stick with it, go right into right back into Ice Palace. And Dr. Marty pulling out that cape against Ganon. Doesn't want to get hit by those fire bats, even with the red mail. Easily makes it into phase 3.
Yeah, that top right corner is the optimum place for Ganon to sit. You can just sit right in the corner and get double spins. It's very useful.
And one more slash will put Ganon dead as soon as Ganon decides to stop teleporting here. Here we go. And into phase 4 we go. Dr. Marty going for the torch glitch. Not quite as important as it would be if there weren't silvers. Gets the double right after the torch glitch, though. One shot away now from claiming victory and moving to 2-1 here. Freezes Ganon for the final time. Puts that silver arrow into the big pig. And will advance to 2-0 with a very well executed seed. And an impressive sub 2. After climbing Ganon's tower, not once, but twice.
It's a very impressive time in the end.
So congratulations to Dr. Marty. Let's get some GGs in chat, and I'll take this opportunity while we try to get him in here for an interview to follow these runners. They put on a fantastic show for us today, as Nakachuu going hard through Ice Palace. So give these runners a follow, Dr. Marty Zero and Nakachuu. Links are in chat. Again, GG's to both of these runners. We're going to try to get some post-game thoughts here from Dr. Marty, see if he's around. So Nakachuu a little low on hearts. Going to check those item drops from the little blob things. Does get a couple of hearts out of it, so definitely well worth the time. Still sticking with these bomb strats. You can actually bonk off the wall over the penguins in order to bomb them all at once without having to damage boost through them or manipulate them in any way. And Nakachuu going to head back down towards Cold Stare. Down to 3 hearts at this point. There is a fairy refill right here if she wants it in this anti-fairy. Going to take that. Definitely welcome. And with 2 blue potions, she's all set. She's got this. But if anybody's been following along with the NMG race, which is also a situation where you're going to be doing Cold Stare with green mail consistently, you see deaths to Cold Stare happen more frequently than the runners would certainly like. So Cold Stare, green mail, this is not a joke. This is not an easy fight. So one more time with the bombos, removing that shell from Cold Stare. Fire Rod out. Master Sword spin. And we are joined here by Dr. Marty Zero. Dr. Marty, congratulations. Good game.
Thanks very much. Thanks for sticking with me for the whole run.
Now, the first question is the one that you're probably still shaking from. What were your thoughts as you saw that big key on the torch in Gannis Tower?
I think I can only describe it as the same level as anxiety you would get if you see a truck coming towards you that you know you can't get out of the way of.
That is quite the feeling. And Nakachuu clears off Cold Stare, get to pick up her 6th crystal. So what was your thought process as far as like when you're getting towards the end of Gannis Tower? Where were you considering routing if it were not in Gannis Tower? Because the whole world is open to you. The
entire world, yeah, and I know. I think I just wanted to avoid as much as possible going into Turtle Rock because I knew that would have been the longest time, and I wanted to, if at all possible, to save that for last. So I thought I was going to go towards Kakariko, go towards Skull Woods, get the bullfrog and the chest, and probably go for the medallions afterwards because they're usually the trolley ones that catch me out.
Well, the good call your routing ended up paying off as you were able to get those boots and get up through Gannis Tower and defeat Ganon the fastest. So you move on to 2-1. Do you have any goals for this tournament? Like, what are you trying to do? You're just trying to win a match because you've already doubled that. So
basically, I'm trying to win a match. Like, this is my first tournament that my brother just kind of got me to join, and I thought, okay, if I win one match out of this, I'll be pretty happy. So I think I'm doing fairly well so far.
Well, congratulations on going 2-1. It is certainly quite the accomplishment to be at a winning record at this point in the tournament, and keeping your head on your shoulders after seeing that key on the torch. I mean, yeah, you deserve a lot of credit for that. So GG's again.
Thanks very much. I was thinking going into there, I said if the boots are required here, I might actually feel the need to rage quit, but I thought, no, I need to stick with it now. I need to stick with it to the end.
Oh, it's too much fun to rage quit.
Yeah, I thought, oh, hang on, I'm live on Twitch. No, I can't quit.
Well, we appreciate you not cursing up the microphone for our viewers here.
No problem. So how did Naga get on?
A little bit of execution struggles, but did have go mode before you, believe it or not, given that she had full cleared Skull Woods a lot earlier, shortly after Thieves Town. She went up there into Skull Woods, got the book and the boots. So Red Cane was her go mode item compared to your boots. Heading into Maya right now. You have to check out the replay and see for yourself.
Yeah, I definitely will. Yeah, I'd be interested to see where we diverged.
Yeah, a lot of the divergence mainly came from the early Dark World checks. She went down to Hype Cave first, and then safe and quitted and headed up and did Skull Woods and all of that area there, unlike yourself, who went up top to bottom.
Yeah, and I just kind of left Skull Woods until later, thinking, okay, there's 6, possibly 7 items out of Swamp Palace, and I have all the items to get in there. So I thought the logic was kind of pointing me in that direction.
Now, when Swamp Palace doesn't have anything, are you thinking you're behind at that point, or are you banking all of your money on Trahasala having an item?
I was fairly certain that I was behind at that point, and I thought if there's absolutely nothing in there, then I'd leave the pendant until I was going to the Eastern Pod direction again. But at that point, I thought, okay, I now have an entire dungeon that I had to clear, or I thought of clearing, that Naka probably didn't. So yeah, I was thinking I've definitely lost this race, and I was wondering why it hadn't finished. But then when I saw the boots, I thought, oh, they had the same problem as I did.
always good to stick with it just in case. It's not over till it's over. We got a question in chat wondering what you were thinking after you had entered Skull Woods and had picked up that book first, because that opens up 2 extra items that lets you see what's on the pedestal. Were you panicking a little bit on that book pickup?
The very first thing I was going to do after beating Skull Woods was go and check the pedestal, because I thought, this is just my luck, it's going to be a pedestal speed 2. So that was the first thing that's going through my mind. And then after that I thought, yeah, also medallion things, and then maybe going to desert for a run. But yeah, I was thinking if it was a pedestal, then yeah, there's a nice wall here next to me where I'd probably put my head through.
Well, congratulations once again. It was certainly torturous, but not that torturous. It wasn't gonna be a pedestal seat on top of all of that.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it at least.
Collection. Oh, I think the entire chat had a grand old time. I certainly did. How about you, Ileana?
Yeah, it was a great race. It was great to see.
I'm glad we could put on a good show at least.
So we got Nakachuu here going up to the final part of Misery Mire. Has those silver arrows, full hearts in hand. Did manage to pick up that tempered sword and the blue mail. So should be all set for this fight and pulls out those silver arrows with 37 in her quiver. I don't see this going anyway but well for her and bad for Vitreous. And indeed we see those eyeballs taking a fall.
Silver's making short work of Vitreous. Nakachuu in 7 crystal mode on their way up Death Mountain to Ganstar now.
A little bit of a less time going to be spent in Ganis Tower for Nakachuu, having those boots already on her first trip up there.
Yep, we won't get to see Tower Room twice, unfortunately.
I can see that Naka has the ice rod. Did she end up going to Turtle Rock?
No, like we said, her go mode item was the red cane, so she just kind of picked that up while she was in Spike Cave. Not Spike Cave, Hookshot Cave. Not going to be necessary, not a necessary item at all for her at that point, but she didn't know that. So if she goes through the rest of Hookshot Cave and doesn't pick up all of her go mode items, she might end up having to do Turtle Rock at that point, I believe. So. And filling up on potions once again, down to her last 88 rupees. Doesn't need any more though. Full potions. Plenty of room for error here. And heading up the Death Mountain to go into the tower.
And she did grab her blue mail in the checkerboard cave, so that should keep her nice and safe going up the gauntlet.
Right side gamble would result in her having red mail as well. I'm not too sure if that's going to be the case here though. Gets dead rocked a bit. Can't quite squeeze through there. That Pikachu. Little tubby.
It is a curvy Pikachu.
But it's adorably so. Look at it. I think the sprite for that one is Bidoof, which is even more adorable. Shoutouts to Bidoof.
Underrated Pokemon.
So we got links in chat there, as you can see, for the rest of this tournament. Make sure to give all of the Speed Gaming channels a follow. That's Speed Gaming 1 through 6. Obviously, everybody's already subscribed to Speed Gaming 1. This is the prime time right here. Also, be sure to subscribe to the Link to the Past Randomizer channels. That's ALTTPR Randomizer, and that's 1 through 4 as well. Plenty of tournament action. We have 512 runners in this tournament total, and there was a wait list. So plenty of matches all day, every day for your randomizer needs. So be sure to check out that schedule, follow all those channels, and follow our runners. Once again, our runners put on a heck of a show. It is not easy to do all of these things while being in front of a large audience like this in a 1v1 situation. So give these runners a follow once again, as Nakachuu enters Ganon's Tower.
See if we make short work of Ganon's Tower this time. Going right side for 2 chests, probably. Same route as Dr. Marty took.
Certainly the most popular of the routing decisions. Picks up some rupees at the beginning, and we are going right back over to that left side. Going to pick up that big key nice and quick. Needs an extra small key in order to get all the way up the tower. Hopefully we don't have any more small key mishaps on either side here. And does, in fact, have the foresight to pick up that small key before heading up.
I think Palace of Darkness taught all our runners a lesson today.
Also, Darkness, much trickier to route than it certainly first appears. You have your kind of standard routing, but then you try to do a go mode, or when you're just looking for that big key, and it suddenly becomes tricky. Nakachuu navigating the spikes expertly, pulls out the bow in anticipation of these red mimics. This is the spot in the game where the bow is just a hard requirement. You cannot get past here without the bow. So even in the event that both Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness, which also have those red mimics, obviously, even in the event that those are both pendants, you're still going to need the bow for these two rooms right here. And those mimics go down to 1 silver arrow each as Nakachuu heads up towards the gauntlet.
Our stock of blue potions, and with powder in tow, and her tempered sword and red mail, I'm sure we'll be making short work of the gauntlet.
Also has the opportunity to stop into this refill room to get that extra, the hearts topped off here. We'll see if she takes the opportunity. Nope, confident enough in her abilities, going right into the gauntlet. Don't blame her. Plenty of safeties, plenty of offense, plenty of defense. Let's get this done.
That wee room is an interesting conundrum that proves that the bonking overhauls is built into the game. It's a design. It's not a exploit.
And one more time, GG's to Dr. Marty. Dr. Marty, thanks for joining us. We're going to finish up this commentary here and stick with Nakachuu until the very end. And getting down a little low on hearts here, just 2.5 left. Not going to pull out those blue potions quite yet. Going to pull out Bombos, though, to take care of these last 2 enemies. It's a red Stalvos and a red Horseman. I think it's a Zizik. There's a Z in there somewhere. Either way, it is a crispy pile of ash now, and we are going to get the full heart refill, or the a fairy heart refill anyway, from that bunny beam. So no Badoofs today for us, as 2 silver arrows find their mark. Oh, and I thought that it was going to hit. I don't see how that
close to
missed.
0 cycle there.
I don't see how that missed. That's crap. I'm gonna watch the replay of that. Write a letter to the developers of this game.
Developers will probably reply, "You guys still playing this?"
They would indeed be surprised to see what we've made out of their monstrosity of a video game. So we're going with those cane strats once again, up Ganon's Tower towards the very final stages. Man, boots make these rooms a lot easier. Almost getting the 1 cycle. Gets the 2 cycle, though.
Yeah, this little spike square thing that just always seems to be in the way.
Lighten these 4 torches with the lamp. Not a lot of need to conserve magic here with half magic and a full magic refill just a few rooms away. Actually, just 1 room away. But nevertheless, we're through. Four more torches here. Gonna need to kill one of these mini Helmas in order to get the small key here. Does so with a pot very easily. Checking these last chests. Gold store is still certainly a possibility. Dr. Marty did skip these, so these are new to us.
It's always fun to see what's in Moldorm 2's chest.
Not even a need to powder those fairies there. Gonna go straight through. Not even a need to refill magic, really. With those 2 blue potions and more than half magic with half magic. And a spin and a slash is all it's going to take from Moldorm. And, ooh, that was a poke. Oh, right on the edge. And, oh, there's another poke. We got fast Moldorm in rage, but Nakachuu sticks with it. Uses that sword to keep herself on the platform. And down goes Moldorm. Gets her revenge. Just 10 arrows in the Moldorm chest. So no gold sword for us today.
Off to Aghanim too.
And
This is
one of
the
the more
final-
tricky rooms in Gannis Tower.
Yeah, this is the true final boss of Gannon Star. That room's not friendly.
Well, I'd guess our way through there, only lost 2.5 hearts there, so not a problem at all. And we're on Agatu. Six shots again total here. Don't have to worry quite as much about blue balls just because you're always guaranteed to get reflectable ones from the 2 ghost Aghanims. That doesn't mean they're not frustrating. I mean, that was an easy double if Aghanim hadn't had a blue ball. And there's the double there to finish him off. We're on to Ganon. Getting that bonk count up there while Aghanim does his little dance going down as the swag duck says, hey, actually I do work in the dark world, and flies her over to the Pyramid of Power. Is it the Pyramid of Power? I just made that up. Probably it is.
Yeah,
That's powerful.
Ganon has the Triforce of Power, lives in the Pyramid of Power.
Every time I do commentary, I always hope for the burrito line from Ganon, so I can ask my co-commentator what kind of burrito they would be. But I'm not going to ask it. Doesn't count. Hasn't gotten it.
It's probably as well, because I'm not 100% sure how to answer that question.
Well, it's, I mean, I feel like that should have been one of the questions on the test for commentators. Down to half a heart here already. Pulls out that blue potion. Let's get the refill now. Let's not take any chances. Let's get that cake going, too.
That test was quite fun. I definitely remember answering how many keys are in pod with 2 men.
And that is certainly the case. So I think we need a couple more hits here in order to get out of stage 2. But with that half magic again, there is no problem here. And Nakachuu obviously counting a lot better than I could. Stops with the slashes, goes with the wall holding to get rid of that cape usage, and gets the first hit in the 3rd phase. Fire Bass not a problem. He's out of there already.
You pass the big hurdle in the Ganon fight, I feel. Phase 2 is probably the worst of them.
And especially with Silvers and Tempered Sword, no need to worry about spin slashing at any point during the 4th phase, which can be tricky, but it will not be here. And we did indeed find the arrows in the light world as Nakachuu also gets the torch glitch and takes a fall to Ganon, unfortunately. Still has a blue potion, still sticking with it. We're going right back up. Ganon's repairing those tiles right now in the floor, getting a quick break.
Up to pick up the tree fairy.
I mean, it's basically free, right? You're already here. You're walking right past it. You have the boots. You have the net. You have an empty bottle. You might as well.
Yeah, I agree. You never have enough safeties.
And that's the type of game knowledge that can make or break a run. Knowing where those tree fairies are, knowing what's under every single pot in the game, knowing exactly, being always aware of your ammo counts. Those are things that can definitely change the course of a run.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of knowledge out there that you can learn. A streamer that I watch occasionally called Jagamoth did a series on things like that, like bombs under bushes and stuff. It's very informative.
And there are lots of resources out there. If you're watching right now and you're looking to get into Randomizer, don't be intimidated. This is a very difficult game, but there is also a very friendly community out there. So come to the website, join the Discord, and start watching some of these videos that some of the fantastic community members have played. And watch this tournament. I mean, give these runners a follow. Give more runners follows. Give all of the Speed Gaming and Link to the Past Randomizer Twitch channels follows, because that's the best way to learn, at least for me, is to actually watch these runners compete and see what their strategies are live in real time. But those tutorial videos can also really help from the YouTube page.
Yeah, and there's a lot of resources on the Discord, and there's always guys in the channels to just answer stupid questions. I knew I asked a number of stupid questions whenever I started.
Oh, there's no such thing as a stupid question for this game. There's
Quite
a
true.
lot going on here, so don't ever feel bad about asking questions. And ask them in the chat. We're here. We'll answer if we can remember to read the chat once in a while.
On the Phase 4 game, we have our torch glitch, and we almost... That was close.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Are we out of potions? Oh, okay. Oh, God. What is it? What is it? Did the little toe hit the fire? That's crap. I disagree.
I disagree completely. That was nowhere near your hitbox.
So Automatic might elect to go give the witch's hut a visit again, fill up on potions. We'll see what happens, and we are going to get a mirror here. So plenty of money, though. There's 300 rupees in that first chest in Gannis Tower are going to come into use here.
See, chat disagrees with that hitbox as well.
So 160 twice, that's 320 rupees down for 2 blue potions. Should be enough to get us through this Ganon fight now. As Nakachuu will flute back towards the tower. That Aghanim fight, the first fight, really helps with Dark World navigation here. Don't have to worry about where exactly you drop that portal into the Dark World. A lot of runners will leave it up top in Hyrule Castle and unfortunately get the bad news. They have to do a long climb around. But with that Aghanim Dark World warp right there, doesn't matter. We're going back up to Ganon with Blue Mail, Tempered Sword, 11.5 hearts, half magic, 2 blue potions. We're ready to go.
Yeah, we're all topped up.
One of the interesting things I learned about this game, so that Ganon text obviously is not vanilla. That's a Zelda 2 reference right there. But in the randomizer, Ganon has all sorts of things that he ends up saying. They're always the same number of lines. And the reason they're always the same number of lines is because this is built by speedrunners for speedrunners. That was the first, and obviously a lot of people from outside the speedrunning community have since joined and learned randomizer. But the number of button mashes is the same because the number of lines in the vanilla game is the same as what you just saw there from Ganon. So keeping the number of lines the same is it's an interesting point that I never would have thought of, but it just shows the level of detail and thought and care that the developers put into the randomizer.
Yep, keeping everything as consistent as possible. We say it's randomized, but we want the two people with the same seed to have the same amount of randomization, if that makes sense. Like other things like the Ganon teleports here will be the same between both of the runners will have the same number of teleports. The same with the blue balls and Aghanim 1.
You should do more commentary, man. I could just listen to your accent all day. That is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I only get to do earlies, and there aren't a lot of earlies.
And here we go for the first silver arrow shot. Gonna go for the double. Gets it. Halfway there. That's 3. We need 1 more. Nice and patient. Gets the big toe in the fire bat again. Just a little too late. Gets the last hit though. No problem. Ganon goes down. And the big pig is exploding. Look at the Pikachu holding up the sword. That's adorable. So GG's to Nakachuu. We're going to invite Nakachuu in here for an interview. Once again, we're going to remind you, follow both of these runners. They put on one heck of a show for us today. So give these runners a follow as Nakachuu finishes it up. And this seed is over. So GG's to Dr. Marty for going 2-1, and GG's to Nakachuu for an impressive performance. I will message her now.
Yeah, 1 and 2 is not out yet. There's still 4 more rounds to go.
So overall, one heck of a seed, especially for Dr. Marty, who didn't pick up those boots in Skull Woods, ended up go-moding Skull Woods, had to find the boots after going to Gaines Tower. And we welcome in Nakachuu. GG's Nakachuu.
Good game.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts on the seed? So you obviously had Red Cane going last as your go-mode item. What were your thoughts once you picked that up?
Well, first of all, I'd like to formally apologize to everybody watching this race because that was horrifying, the entire race. But yeah, the Red Cane, it was kind of the item that I needed in what do you call it, Ice Palace as well, because I thought it was cane locked, but apparently my partner later told me I forgot a chest after I finished. But yeah, at that point, I was pretty sure I was very, very far behind.
Well, you ended up not being as far behind as you might have thought. Dr. Marty actually go-moded Skull Woods. He did that dungeon last, so he did not have the boots. And so he got up to Ganon's Tower, and he had a very unpleasant surprise when that big key was on the torch. So you were by no means out of this at any point, right up until Dr. Marty found those boots. So GG's to you. You really showed how routing can really compensate for a lot of time here in these randomizer runs.
That is incredible. I need to rewatch this race if that was the case, because that's mean.
Absolutely. I strongly recommend the rewatch to all runners really out there. Rewatch your race, see how your opponent differed. That's one of the better ways to learn here.
Yeah, Dr. Marty had some strong words for the seed afterwards.
I'd like to hear that too. I can only imagine.
So you moved to 1 and 2, not out of it by any stretch. What are your goals for this tournament? What are you looking to do here for the tournament?
To be honest, I already reached my goals because my goal was to win 1, and I did that.
Well, congratulations. I feel like a stretch goal is well within your reach then. Double that up, get 2 wins, maybe even more. GG's. Once again, follow Nakachuu. Links are there in chat. This was a lot of fun to watch. Thank you for putting on a show for everyone here. Thank you for Ileana for helping me commentate. You can give us a follow.
Glad to be here.
Why not? But I believe there's more stuff on speed gaming today. What do we got left for tournament action here?
I think we have a match coming up at midday between Mr. Johnny Spot and Aizen Tayama.
And that's going to be right here on Speed Gaming 4. So head on over there at noon. That's in an hour and a half from now if you are not on the East Coast. And we also have more matches in the afternoon. We have 4 matches at least going on at 2 p.m. So full day of randomizer action planned for everybody. Get your fill because there's going to be plenty going around. So once again, I'm Walking Eye for Ileana and our entire Speed Gaming crew. Thanks for watching. Good games for the runners. Good game to Nakachuu and Dr. Marty. And we will see you later.
See you all next week.
Bye.